$50 for the powder room.
Yeah. You got another $50 for cab fare. You know, you got another. I hate you, Etienne. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you so much.
I hate me too, if it's any consolation.
If you think I'm just like all those other rats
and super rats,
I got something for you. $50 for the powder room. The ultimate insult. Oh my god. Oh, hey everybody.
I do at least love that bit because I like to think that Hamlet would have been proud. It's definitely the same vein of I will speak daggers but use none.
Yeah, it's very much. I mean, there's a certain amount of like Hamlet's like whiny like in like every main character in that fucking film. Hey, everybody out there listening, you're here at the TBD podcast, sitting around with Sir Etienne Thibault and myself, Sir Patrick Thibault. I'm not Thibault. I've adopted your last name. I've stolen it.
Wow, I thought we were close, but not that close. Evidently I do.
Shut up. No, yeah, Patrick Humphrey here. Today's episode, we are discussing the true, utter train wreck shit show that is the film Breakfast at Tiffany's. Starring, Jesus.
No, storying
by some jackoff with I hate everything. Starring George Peppard and Audrey Hepburn and Mickey Rooney, and arguably the most horrifically racist white portrayal.
That's the one thing that, like, I can start to look past other things with multiple viewings of that, but that irks me every fucking time.
There's no reason for it.
And the other thing, too, is, like, it's billed as, like, you know, this romantic drama comedy thing. And I really don't get much comedy in it, and I think half the comedy is like physical humor from fucking Mr. Ocean being a jack-off.
Yeah, that's like all like horribly racist specific humor about like, yuck, 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 look at the old Japanese man, yuck, 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 oh, look at his bad teeth, yuck, yuck, yuck. Oh, by the way, we're gonna go back to child rape. Like, my God. Smash cut from like scene of, you know, like, I need you to get me really, really drunk, to like, I'm in my bathtub.
But there's no reason for that scene at all.
None. Not one fucking reason. Oh, God. But yeah, so Mickey Rooney is like the horrible shit cherry on top of the shit sundae, on top of the...
He's somebody that I've always known about, but like wanted to keep at arm's distance. Whether it's fucking like Dana Carvey making fun of him and impersonating him on SNL, or fucking, you know, Seth MacFarlane ripping him a new asshole. Mickey Rooney's crazy, Bill.
Yeah,
like the unfortunate watching and subsequent rewatching of Breakfast at Tiffany's have really shoved him down my throat, and I'm not pleased or amused.
You shouldn't be, and I'll be dead honest. I have some love for Mickey Rooney from my childhood, specifically because of the wonderful Rankin and Bass classic "Santa Claus is Coming to Town," which I fucking love. Like, I love old school Rankin and Bass. I think "Santa Claus is Coming to Town" is one of the gold standards. You know, acid sequence notwithstanding, and Mickey Rooney is Santa Claus in it. So, like, for me, Mickey Rooney is always going to be Kris Kringle. But then I saw this, and I was just like, God damn it, Mickey Rooney. God damn it. Now every time...
all my love for you has turned to hate.
Love turns to hate. But yeah, no, it's going to be hard for me to rewatch that now without thinking of...
fucking Unioshi.
Oh, Jesus. And everything wrong with that.
Yeah. But on the bright side, at least you have the association with Kris Kringle as somebody other than Tim Allen.
Okay, that's very true. I never let myself watch those films, despite, you know, like, I don't know, like high school with his daughter and shit. Like, I just never, like, I never wanted to watch them because I love Christmas. And every day, something takes a little bit of Christmas away from me. And, you know, no offense to Tim Allen, he's done some good work, but motherfucker ain't Santa Claus.
No. No.
Which is the joke of those movies, but it's not funny to me.
It's totally understandable, and I mean, I guess I'm glad your childhood wasn't ruined by them. And I mean, I don't think I ever watched them by choice. It was always on at somebody else's house.
Oh, yeah,
like, for some godforsaken reason, they'll be like, oh, it's Christmas. We're going to be doing something Christmassy in school. Let's watch Tim Allen be a jack-off.
Oh, God. That's one I never had to deal with. God, what did they even show for Christmas? It was Catholic school, so, like, God, it was probably VeggieTales.
Oh, God.
Yeah, which, like...
Well, at least they didn't show you, like, the 12 signs of the cross in graphic detail.
We did that. You mean the Stations of the Cross?
Yeah.
Oh, we did that all the time. That was for Easter. Because, it's Jesus' brutal, horrific death.
Right.
I mean, every Catholic church has them enshrined around the top
rim.
No.
I have been to church once upon a time.
Glorious Technicolor. But, yeah, that's, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
You Catholic back in the day?
No, I've been to several different churches. I guess I was raised Quaker, technically, so I went to Quaker meetings.
Dude, righteous. Society of Friends.
I've been to various different Catholic. I've been to, like, Greek Orthodox in addition to, like, regular Catholic.
Dude, that's boss. Those services are crazy.
Like, Franciscan, all over the place with Christianity, really, but it wasn't for me. Anyways, we've strayed so far from breakfast to Tiffany's.
I do have to say, I do kind of wish that you were raised Shaker, because that would have been really, really, really good.
So I could be a Quaker Shaker.
Well, and also, you'd inherit all that property in upstate New York. And we could go hang out there,
And then take the taxi over to Tiffany's.
Oh, God.
Sadly eat our food outside while looking it in.
Stare at the fucking jewels with a...
These are all the things I will never own, but it's okay because diamonds are tacky on women under the age 40.
Oh my God. Well, did you notice the fucking through line of all the creepy, like leaving aside all the main portion of the creepy shit with Doc for right now, specifically the through line of her repeatedly having the, like, well, that's what happens when you get fat, like, lines, and then the fact that, like, every conversation she has with Doc and every conversation he has talking about her references, like, oh, she got so fat, oh, you too skinny, like... Gives you kind of the idea that there was this constant...
you up here.
Yeah, there's, like, this constant, like, I get the idea that a lot of her, like, frequently raped childhood involved,
Binging and purging.
Well, yes, and also Doc continually being like, that body ain't right. And, like, like, you're too skinny, girl, you eat that turkey, oh, now you too fat, girl. Yeah, like, I hate him. I hate him so much.
Part of me wants to believe that you're reading too much into his character and their background, but, like, there's weird things throughout that fucking movie, and, like, right when they sit down on the bench when he's talking to fucking Paul Varjak, like, that wry ass smile that I'm just like,
not okay. None of that was fucking okay. Also, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, she came with just a crazy wild little thing. Then my wife died. Then, I asked her to marry me at 14.
Yeah.
None of that's okay. Ain't none of it okay. Oh, you think a 14-year-old, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they want, but she knew what she wanted. That's a line. That's a thing he says.
I know.
And, like, every time I watch that scene... I just keep expecting, and, like, I know it's not going to happen, like, deep in my heart of hearts, but I keep, like, something cries out in me for George Papard to Paul Varjak. Fred, baby.
Which, that's another thing, too, like,
God.
constantly referring to him as her brother.
So whacked.
Especially with, like, the weird, romantic, pseudo-sexual underlay.
Again, we're like, they even talk about the fact that before Doc... she and her brother escaped from an even more abusive family. Right. Her life has been nothing but a cycle of degradation and abuse, and her desperately trying to escape it by any means possible. And
She had cause to run away from that cause.
She never had cause to run away from me.
Yeah.
You tell me she wasn't happy. You tell me that. She wasn't happy, Pete. That's why she ran away. That's why people do that.
That's why the marriage got annulled. That's why she's bringing protection to the station.
and Varjak just is repeatedly like, no, I think you need to talk to your husband about this. I'm gonna go get a pretzel. You know, like, what? Don't leave her with the abuser. What the hell's wrong with you? And I love that they even like have the nod to it. I love it and I hate it because there's so much of the movie that is so conscious of its own bullshit. And then there's also these moments where you're like, wow, you were entirely not conscious of how fucked this was. Because, like, going into it, she's like, I can't play this scene alone. Mm-hmm. She is doing the whole, like, I really do love you, Doc, but I'm just not that person. Like, it is an act. It is her trying to get the molester back on the Greyhound bus and the fuck out of her part of the United States. And just going back to that first scene when they're talking in the park, there's like 5 different moments where like Varjak is starting to walk away and turns around and just has this intense look on his face, and every time my soul cries out for him to just roundhouse kick, just like straight like, yeah! Like straight like whack, take out Doc on that bench, and it never comes. It never comes.
Instead he eats fucking Cracker Jacks.
Yes. Man, I thought I was special, but she has a husband. No, she doesn't.
The irony, too, is like him being basically a kept man for another woman at this point, too, because they're still involved at that. He hasn't been like, no, I'm a writer. I'm developing a backbone. Fuck you.
Which, you know, good on Paul Varjak. I mean... yeah, his sugar mama was kind of a dick to him. That's like a pretty...
yeah. I mean, she felt entitled to whether or not she was.
For her, it was a more straightforward transaction.
Right.
And she obviously had other emotional connections there, but it was more of a straightforward, like, I am paying you for this emotional companionship and sex. And that should be well understood. Yes, I like you and everything else, but, like, that's what this is. This is your day job.
Right. Hence the bit at the end with, like, oh, go take a fucking vacation. You earned it.
Yeah.
Like, you take a vacation, but you come back to me in a week. Like,
which is, again, like, her literally being like, it's only good labor practice. I mean, it's only fair you get paid vacations.
She jokes about the whole fucking union.
Yeah, like... which, honestly, like, the way, like, there's so many scenes in it that are actually really well done, and then they just sandwich them between these just horrible moments against these, like, broken, shitty people.
Yeah, part of me, like, I'm probably never going to actually do it, but part of me wants to, like, actually find out, like, how the book is written, what the book's about.
She's much more clearly a prostitute in the book.
Okay.
It is not vague. Like,
well, I knew that
call girl, like high-end call girl.
Yeah, well, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Well, I mean, prostitution does cover the whole umbrella, but it's usually a term referred to more street level as opposed to yeah. I'm technical about my prostitution. I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. But part of me wants to like find out more about the characters because honestly, in the movie, I just do not give a shit. And like the whole point of the movie is the characters, what's happening to them now, these encapsulated interactions and like their past and shit. And like not having that, like the events of the movie are so fucking limited that there's not much to go on strictly from that. And like I don't want to believe that it's this massive steaming pile of shit, and having more background and more personality and more knowledge of the characters might alleviate that. And also finding out if Yunioshi is really as terrible as he is portrayed.
Well, I imagine he probably is. Like, just as perfectly old school, good old fashioned American pie, apple pie American racism. American pie, apple racism. But I doubt that there's like the extensive scenes of him fumbling around his apartment with the waddle, trying to find his glasses that he doesn't keep next to the bed.
Right.
Oh, how did this lantern get here? My whole apartment's just full of lanterns. What? Isn't that crazy? Aren't the Japanese and their culture so crazy?
Well, I mean, I would hope not to an extent. I realize it's horribly dated for a number of reasons. I mean, the film came out in 61, the book came out in 58.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were already a lot of Japanese Americans by then. We dealt with, World War II. Japanese were out of internment. Like, I knew there was lingering racism, obviously. There still is. But I like to think that we were a little bit...
better by 61?
Yeah.
No. We hadn't learned shit by 61. I mean, like, Martin Luther King was still getting his ass beat on the regular in 61. He hadn't been shot yet.
I know.
I mean, yeah.
But I think the levels of institutionalized racism were at least different between American populace and African Americans versus Asian Americans.
Oh, that's generally true. I mean, like, the black community definitely faced more adversity, but, I mean, like, the Asian American community definitely still faced a shit ton. Like, there's still a lot of issues with, like, not in my town kind of shit, which, we still have today, which is lovely. I don't know if you read the article. I can't remember who did the profile. It was either, I think it was the LA Times, that was talking about the supermarkets in Alhambra.
I did not read about it, but go on.
Essentially, Alhambra for a very long time was like a white majority city. It was like the staunch bastion of old rich whiteness in the San Gabriel, Valley. And now it's like 60% Asian and like 30% Latino.
Mm.
And yeah, a bunch of the old white people are like, why are the grocery stores changing? I'm so mad. Don't let them change the Albertsons to I can't even remember, a Ranch 99, which is fucking dank. Like, give me an Asian market or a Mexican market or an Armenian market or an Indian market over fucking any of these normal grocery stores any day. But it was literally like, it's just, the community's just changed, It's just not what it used to be. It's just changed, and, we gotta preserve what we have. And, like, reading this, I'm like, you people are not at all being circumspect about the fact that you're like, fuck you Asians, get out of my town. Like, you're not saying it in that many words, but you're really hewing pretty close to that. And I'm like, just seeing that today, I was shocked. I didn't see it today, but, like, in the modern era, you like to think that's not still happening. Like, not in my town, you dirty yellows. Like, that's, like, terrible. It's fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. We've certainly talked a lot about race. And I think
yes.
it's time for us to move past the Mickey Rooneys of this world.
Yes. And the people who fund the Mickey Rooneys of this world. Yes. But, yeah, the deepest problem that I have with Breakfast at Tiffany's is that it had the opportunity to really be a really well-rendered portrait of two jacked up people. One of them way more jacked up than the other, but both of them really, really slogging through serious mental and emotional issues. And instead of that, we have 3/4 that, and then 1/4 mindless early 60s love film. Like, the aggressive use of soft focus. Like, any time that they want to be like, getting romantic, isn't it? Yeah, they're going to do it. And you're just like, but, because they have this whole buildup of, like, her past trauma and, like, her entire experience. And the fact that Varjak is dealing with the ennui of being like, I am a failure. I have betrayed what I want to do to be this other thing that's kind of worthless and that I dislike. And he gets to move beyond it.
Right.
and be like, I've seized my own power again, and I'm self-determining, and And then the way that she gets out of it is, no, you're right, you do own me. Ba-dum-bum. Hey, happy ending, kissing in the rain. And I was just like, you're shitting me. You've got to be shitting me. So the way out for her is to be dominated by another outside force. Like, all of Varjak's like advice throughout the end of the film of him being like, these are honestly bad ideas and I can't let you do this as a friend, would be so much more powerfully delivered if there weren't a romance between them and they were friends. Because otherwise it's impossible to divorce it from the fact that you want to fuck her.
And there's the whole thing too earlier about like, you know, when he's finally like telling, you know, his keeper that, that, you know, that he wants out, there's another woman, blah 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 blah, and she's like, oh well, she must be somebody who can help you, blah blah blah. And it's like, no, strange enough, she can't help anybody, she can't even help herself, but I think I can help her. Like that bit is so good if it were not devolved into, you know, the whole I own you thing. And like the whole, on second watching of the film, I was really hoping that I was misremembering things, because there's that bit early on when she's talking about the cat and like not belonging to anything, and not fitting in and belonging somewhere, which I got and I thought was great. I think if they would have changed it slightly, the line to like, you belong with me instead of you belong to me.
Yes!
It would have echoed back to the beginning of that film, that sentiment of belonging without the sense of ownership.
Which is beautiful and is what they should be going towards in the film, because they're both people who have been owned and hated it.
Right.
So why should the solution for these characters be, we own you, like, own each other, nah! Like, okay, I hate having a leash on me, so let's put on these leashes.
and then it'll all be better.
It'll all work out in the wash.
It's almost akin to the like, well, you know, there's a problem because people have guns, so if everybody owned guns, then there'd be no problems.
So, you know, if we all own each other, then no one has an expectation of freedom or independence. Oh my god. It's so fucking bad. I also have to say, it disturbed me, and just for the audience's sake, I finished watching this film, like rewatching it for the first time. I've only seen it twice. Approximately 30 minutes before we started recording this, so it's like fresh in my memory, and the hate is real. But like a couple of years ago, I started using the word cheer-ins, just as like a joke, you know, when I was talking about, you know, them cheer-ins, you know, talking about children. And I'm watching it, and then like it got to the line where Doc's like, she belonged with her husband, her brother, and her cheer-in. And I was like, no, my joke came from Doc. No, I don't want it. I don't want anything from him. He ruined that word for me. Posthumously.
If I could undo the hands of time.
If I could turn back time. If I could punch Doc's face. Sorry. God, you just want to hit him.
On the flip side of that, you to an extent, you have to admit that, like, he did a good job of portraying the character if you feel that venomously about him.
Oh, he did a great job. He's like the sad old preferential offender pedophile being like, come back to me, I have your teddy bear. Like,
well, it's a bit more serious than that.
Way more, threatening.
He's threatening Holly about her brother.
Yeah, I will dynamite your relationship with your mentally disabled brother.
Yeah.
If you don't come back and continue to have sex with me. Yeah.
Which should never be a conversation that anybody has ever.
No! Like, oh my god. It's like nothing but like vicious, horrible, dark things. Where you have like the occasional, I do have to say, George fucking Papard. One of the worst acting moments I've ever seen. Like, mostly he does a pretty good job in the movie, regardless of how I feel about George Papard as a person. Usually gives good, performances. The end of the day of him, like, running around doing things they've never done before, which is, like, a really nice, like, little thing in the movie. And it was cool because it was that expansion of their comfortability with each other. The final moment where they've, like, run down the street, like, yeah, like run in the front door. George Papard gives like the fakest like, I'm slowly ending my laugh to look at you meaningfully now. Like, performance ever. And it just comes across as him being like, I'm gonna pretend to continue laughing until I can get close enough to kiss you. Because then I can fuck you. And it like comes across like all creepy like that. And I was just like, oh God, George, why? Why, George?
Well, I didn't necessarily get that from that scene, but there was a lot of like him desiring intimacy and like Holly kind of keeping him at like arm's length.
Yeah. Which I loved way more the early game stuff that they did, where it's really him being like, no, please back up.
Like, right, when she crawls through the fucking window the first time, when she's ditching the suitor, that gentleman that's pounding at her door.
Come on,
like,
baby.
one of the times that Yoshi's actually useful is he tells him to go the fuck away or I'll call the cops.
Well, yeah, because guy is literally smashing windows, being like, come back here, I'm going to have sex with you whether you want it or not. I mean, she references that guy later, where it's like $50 in the powder room. She's talking to Saul.
There's a couple of
Sally.
guys that do that.
There are, but, I mean, that was kind of my impression, was that it's the guy who tore her dress. She's in a bathrobe at that point. And it's just like, well, I'm out. Guy turned violent. And books. Mm-hmm. And again, that's all kind of dealt with really like funny, like, ha ha ha, oh, he turns into a beast when he's drunk. Trade beast. Or was it,
I don't
Quel
even...
beast. Because it's what in French. And I was just like, that's not funny. She running away from an abusive John. Okay, jokey, fun time. It's cold on the fire escape. Oh, he's breaking through the window. This was a Criminal Minds episode. There would be like a gunfight after this or something. My God.
Yeah, you brought it up too. One of the things that really shook me to the core and appalled me most about the film is the waste of whiskey by Holly Golightly. She pours into a fucking...
Oh my God, that was... She's just like, I will pretend to drink with you. Whoopsie, I'm drinking. Well, which is a wonderful character moment of her being like, I don't know this person yet. I am not going to get drunk in their presence. Which was a kind of like interesting thing in terms of looking into who she is and the way she strategizes. But still, yeah, like I was watching it this time and I just kind of went, no, I'm running low.
Give it to me.
Yeah, like pass it through the screen, Holly. Don't let the plants have it, Holly. The plants won't appreciate the poison. I'm like, oh, God. I don't know. I would like to take just a moment to talk about the entire wasted party scene where, like, I am completely convinced that they couldn't show in 1961 all of the drugs being done at that party, but they're very clear. Like, the woman crying at her reflection in the mirror is tripping. It's 61. Acid was entering the scene. Could have also been a lot of cocaine.
It could have been a lot. I mean, you do also have those like occasional drunk, like freak out, mental breakdown moments, which is what I chalked it up to, honestly. But
it's possible.
You're at a party of that nature, there will be drugs somewhere. Whether or not she is on drugs, there would be drugs somewhere.
Yeah, and that's such a weird scene because there's so many. It's again like that, like exact 50-50 melange of horribly fucking miserable, awful things, and like kind of like oh, isn't that silly? They have a watch on their ankle,
right? Which is another part where I think I mentioned obviously the like awkward racist slapstick with Yoshi, but I think that's like another 50% or so of the humor from the movie is supposed to come is that fucking party scene.
Yeah,
and it's just like this is stupid and preposterous.
And there's that whole horrible conversation with OJ Brenner, Bumblefuck, whatever the fuck the Hollywood guy's name is. His first name is OJ, okay? It kind of dominated it for me. I have other associations.
Ornithol James Simpson or something? Okay.
Yes. I mean, also orange juice, but,
I'd like a tall glass of that man right there.
I mean, it'll cost you. Fucking Greedo cocktails. God, can't even remember what I was saying. Spaced out.
You're talking about the Hollywood guy. OJ, whatever the fuck his name
yeah,
is.
OJB, whatever, McJackoff. There's a whole goddamn thing where he's talking to George Papard up front, and you just hate him. You hate everything about him. This man is deplorable and greasy and vile and just a worthless piece of shit. And you can tell that Paul is standing there going, I hate everything about you. Pour me more booze in this cup. Fuck, I'm gonna be stuck at a party full of people I fucking hate.
Yeah.
For the next, 5 hours.
And he can't even talk to Holly, which is the only fucking reason he's there.
Yeah, oh my god. I'd like to take just a moment to talk about George Papard. Because it is one of those interesting, through lines to go from the somewhat, let's call them, as you said earlier, dated views of the woman's role in relationships and such things.
Yeah, I mean, there was totally that philosophy of you better find yourself a nice man that's going to take care of you for life type thing.
Yeah, that's what you really need.
That's totally evident in the movie. I mean, it comes off a little bit in this day and age as gold digging, but that totally existed as simply reality back then.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, originally, actually, love was discouraged in terms of marriage because love was thought to be passing and volatile, and what you really wanted was a good long-term economic match. That's the traditional view of marriage.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
I mean, that's what it was.
And not to take away from the movie too much right now, but I've totally seen instances where two people have gotten married, it's not worked out, and they've divorced, and both of them have been in economic shit ever since. I'm just clearly the marriage wasn't working, but for whatever reason, you had stability in your life, and you threw that away.
Well, and if you're able to separate, the love turns to hate effect from, your economic realities, I think that it is a really good idea. I know a bunch of people who have, stayed married for legal reasons and for monetary reasons in order to be no, we set up our assets this way instead of spending a bunch of money on lawyers and trying to divvy things up. Let's keep working it this way because it works, but we're going to go do our other things with other people because, this marriage is shit.
Right.
And
swingers party.
Hey! But yeah, if you can wrap your head around that, I think that's kind of ideal in that situation,
right?
As opposed to that full separation. But yeah, no, there is a very kind of old school view of male female relationships in it, which is interesting for me specifically with George Papard because there's a fun fact about George Papard, specifically the A-Team. Which is, of course, my first introduction to George Papard, and always my favorite is Colonel Hannibal. I don't remember his last name.
Well, it wasn't Lecter, so it doesn't matter.
But it's a show that I absolutely love.
Yes, that would have Hannibal Lecter
was
part of the A-Team.
Yeah, no, as their fifth man that they bring in when Murdoch just isn't howling
I would also love it even more
if
it was Hannibal Lecter as portrayed by Anthony Hopkins. I think it would have classed it up quite a bit.
Instead of a Colonel Hannibal as played by George Papard. It definitely would have made the shot in the opening credits of him beckoning in the alligator costume a lot more interesting. Clarice, it would have been terrifying. But it's a fun fact about the A-Team that if you ever watched it, the first 2 seasons, there's the female reporter character who's a main character and is always with them. And if you watch, there's a bunch of episodes where she tries to help and do things, and Hannibal just goes no, and then ignores her from that point on in planning whatever they're doing. And her character leaves after season 2, and it turns out that it was because George Papard had enough of connection with the scriptwriting people that she was continually can we give me more to do, because I literally just kind of follow them around as a foil and kind of get them cases and that's it. And George Papard went, nope, women can't fight, they can't do anything in these situations, so no, you don't get more of a role, shut up. And, like, did that for, like, 2 straight seasons, and she finally was like,
damn.
okay, fuck you, fuck all of you, I'm out. And it's part of why George Papard's career hasn't done super well post-18. He alienated a lot of people he worked with on that front. But it's kind of an interesting through line for me, like watching Breakfast at Tiffany's and being like, oh, young George Papard. I'm interested to see what... Okay.
Yeah,
so a lot of the same.
The only positive woman in that film is the police officer at the end.
Oh, God.
Because she's a woman who's actually working and she's maintaining order to an extent in the fucking madhouse.
Well, and yeah, like...
I mean, we're post fucking World War II. I mean, there was the whole, like, we can do it movement. And then, like, to have this where, like, it's going completely back to, like, women out of the working force and more like, oh, I gotta find a nice rich man that I can settle down with and take care of me. Like, I'm glad there was at least somebody that was fulfilling that role, but I would have liked more, or at least a more major character with that.
To actually be, instead of just someone which even the sugar mama.
There's no evidence of her doing jack.
No, she's sugar momming George Papard by getting money from her rich husband.
Right.
Like, it's the funnel.
Potentially inheriting that money from her family, but she ain't working.
That's possible, yeah. Well,
that's the bottom line.
And it's weird for me because there's all these things in the movie that were obviously supposed to be very much like, Holly controls her own destiny. Right. Haha. But the point of the movie is that she shouldn't. It is like the upshot moral of the film is, silly Holly, you didn't know what was best for you. And B, like all of her like, I'm seizing control of my life, I'm a strong woman who can like use my abilities to like gain a living or whatever, are all in this like creepy like selling myself thing, which is not like, I have nothing against sex work as a career, and that is definitely an empowering thing for specific people. She's also someone who's been consistently abused and is wildly flailing with anything that she knows how to do, which is essentially, wow, I just said that, essentially using seduction in order to gain things, and that is like her entire skill set, other than playing guitar, which is also like one of those things where you're like, my God, just... It's 1961. You can have a folk career. Come on, man. It's like...
Woodstock's not that far off, baby.
Go to Greenwich Village, you know? Just start busking, bro. And I say this in all seriousness as a busker. Like, my God. And that's, it was really frustrating to me because there's a bunch of it that's obviously supposed to be these, like... I'm my own unique person. Like the whole final telegram from Jose being like, you know, I relished in your difference from other people.
I loved you
were
knowing
just too different.
Yeah, I loved you knowing you were not as other women.
Yes. I think that's the exact quote. Jose's character I actually kind of liked because he's never... I mean, he's very kind of like one tone. Right. But he is like a legitimately good dude, as far as I can tell, who's just like, I am part of, like, my family runs Brazil. I can't. Like...
There's a lot of things that he does where, like, I mean, he ditches the party when the cops are being called. Like, there's a lot of, like, he doesn't get involved when he could have to, like, prevented shit fuckery. But he does it for a specific reason that is very key to who he is. Yeah. And, like, that I can at least respect. You know, you're right. He is probably one of the better, more likable characters.
Yeah, he tries to help Holly in the scene where, like, her brothers died and she's smashing stuff. He's like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. George Papard, you know her.
You get women.
Well, and more specifically, like, your friends. Yeah. I barely know her.
Right. I thought she was hot, so I hit her up, and we've been hanging out, and we had a good date.
She's super cool, but
she started smashing everything.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's interesting. My last watching of the movie, I felt that the cat was the best character.
I can 100% get behind that shit. I think Cat takes the cake for being by far and away the most honest, real, well performed. Like, there's definitely the moments where the cat is like, I kinda wanna run away, but I'm gonna stay. Ah! Like, digging into everything.
You feed me when you're sober enough to remember that I exist.
Yeah, like, this is why I stand on your shoulders, damn it, to remind you. And also, periodically, you smash everything in the house, so it's safer than being on the dressing table.
Yeah, there's the scene at the end with the cat on top of the fucking buffalo head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after the thing where Holly just literally grabs the fucking table runner
as the cat's underneath
the cat,
it, yeah.
Like, I was just like, oh my god, just no.
I really hope for the cat's sake they didn't have to do multiple takes of that shot.
They probably did.
They probably did.
They have Cat's trainer in the credits, and I was just like, that must have been a fun fucking job for you and the cat.
Guys, can we not do this shot? I'm worried about the talent getting endangered here.
Now calm down. Ow! Ow! Right in the finger webs. Oh god. Well, but yeah, no, I'll definitely agree that I think Cat is the best character.
All right.
Even better, because, yeah, Jose, I mean, has these questionable things about him, but I also just love the detail that, like, of all the people at the party, George Peppard finally ends up, like, he spends the whole party wandering around with a full glass of bourbon, not talking to people because everyone there sucks, and then actually has, like, a conversation with Jose, and they're chilling, and he's like, oh, you don't suck. Yeah. Oh, cops are coming. Homie, the cops are coming. Let's slip out the back. And he's literally, fuck all of these other guys. Good shit, Jose. And then they, like, split and work. Yeah. I enjoyed that. I'm sorry. You were going to go in a different line, I think.
I don't even know reality anymore. The one thing that I will say, it didn't directly offend me, but Sally Tomato was the worst goddamn name for a fucking gangster.
Oh my god.
Like, you couldn't think of anything?
Sally Tomato, A. B, the hideously bad excuse for an Italian accent. C, the fact that his lawyer is like McGregor or Magruder or like McGillicuddy or some bullshit like that. And I'm like, number one, the Italian mob and the Irish mob have never been allies. Number two, this man is definitively not Al Capone. Number three, Sally Tomato is definitely not Al Capone. It's not the same gravitas, you know? Like, you don't have that same effect from the name.
Well, yeah, it's not... I mean, there were some weird gangster nicknames that were tossed about, but, like, Sally Tomato's not one that I can see being remotely relevant to anything that the person's doing or remotely, like, threatening and fearful, and maybe that's why he's in jail.
Yeah. The Don, you know, they call him Sally Tomatoes because, you know, he used to go to, you know, all nude female reviews and he'd bring rotten tomatoes with him, you know, just in case he didn't enjoy the way they shook their goodies. So, you know, he'd throw them. So, you know, the name kind of stuck, and, you know, he was always kind of, you know, pasty, you know, like a tomato, you know, squishy. You could just kind of poke him and he'd break. So, you know, we put him up as a fake Don so that, you know, if he ever got arrested, we could all kind of laugh at Sally Tomatoes.
See, that I would totally believe because, I mean, with that ridiculous backstory, there's no way he started off on top. He would have had to be like bottom ass Joe Schmo that like slowly rose through the ranks or was like promoted as a figurehead.
Yeah, essentially. You know, think of Harvey Birdman's The Dabadon, you know, where it's all secretly being run by Barney Rubble. Obscure reference, people, I apologize.
It's alright.
But yeah, no, I mean, also the fact that, like, anyone is fucking even vaguely shocked that there's an investigation into Holly Golightly and Sally Tomato and Jackass McGillicuddy, the lawyer, quote unquote, meets her at Burger King, whatever the fuck it's called, the Burger Shack. When she's literally like, oh, what's the weather report, Sally? Yeah. With the guard going, I'm right here, guys. Hey, we'll wave to the camera. And him going, oh, snowfall in New Orleans. Like, that is the least.
I wonder when those snowfall last in New Orleans. I wonder how he thinks him up.
It was about a month ago. That was the last time the shipment came in from down in Cuba. Snowfall. Cocaine. Like, you know, I was just kind of like, that's guys, you just failed the mobster test. Like 100%. Like, I was watching it and I was like, okay, you know, no, he paid off that guard. He must have paid off that guard.
No.
He's got to. Nope.
I mean, his name is Sally Tomato. Clearly, he does not have his shit in order.
Yeah. Well, oh my god. Also, the fact that, like, Yunioshi goes through his big whole, like, throw you out on the street, and then, like, doesn't kick her out. Like, she's still living there.
Right.
After the...
Well, I don't think he's like a landlord. I think he's just another tenant that she continually fucks with because she doesn't have her key and
oh, really?
Home. I don't think it's ever like expressly stated one way or the other.
Okay.
But like I started to presume that he was just another tenant.
It's a good point. Though, why is he in her apartment?
Well, I presumed at that point. I mean, the cops probably had a key or something, and they got in one way or another.
But then why did they just hang with Yunioshi in her living room?
I don't have explanations, Patrick. I figured that he was just kind of like the one that like...
Hey guys, let me just chill with you on this one so I can...
He needed to have his half-assed revenge.
Revenge.
The time is nigh.
Oh, God. Oh, and the whole, like, unfinished through line of the fact that he's, like, an aspiring photographer. That they, like, throw in this, like, vaguest little bit of character, like, possible character development for him at the beginning that literally goes swayed fuck all nowhere. Like, just fucking nothing.
It's just there so fucking Holly can
manipulate
fuck with him. Yeah.
It's crap.
Yeah.
It's utter bullcrap. All of it. Every last bit of it.
Explains why the stupid like lights and shit are there. Because in the first scene when he's first waking up and he turns on the fucking light. Like,
because every person who can't see without their glasses leaves their glasses on the other side of the apartment when they go to sleep.
I'm not trying to justify things in this movie. I don't think I can.
If you aren't condemning, you're on their side, Etienne. If you don't call out the evil when you see it.
But you know, I think another thing that we can agree on is it had a pretty good soundtrack. You know, that one basic
one song,
Moon River,
which is not a terrible song, though. That the lyrics aren't terribly consistent from verse to verse about what's going on in the track. Two drifters just randomly happening out of nowhere, because the rest of this has all been about you doing your thing. But okay, I mean, you had to have that tie-in so you could have the final romantic moment with George Papard in the goddamn alley when the like whole chorus goes, "Two drifters," in case you didn't get the imagery of this whole fucking movie. Ha ha! Like, fuck you. But I have to admit that I kept hearing. I really want to see an Amish parody of this, where the song is Rumspringa, and just have the whole thing about,
that would be excellent.
Yeah, like, make more sense. She's trying to escape the,
fair,
community.
I think it would need at least 2 songs. You gotta fit in Weird Al's Amish Paradise at some point.
Just have that be the opening credits and the closing credits and the entire rest
I'm fine
of the
with
film.
that. I'll
That actually, that's something that I could put money behind. That's
all right, let's
that's a good idea. All right.
We'll start casting next Tuesday. We've got a budget of $50.
All right. First things first. We need Amish.
Second thing, I'll write a really nice letter to Weird Al. He's a good guy. I'm sure he'll let us have the rights to that for free.
Well, he might be willing to write Rumspringa for us, which, I would accept his skills at song parody.
The other thing, I mean, with the movie having basically only one song, it reminded me a lot of the animated Hobbit. The Greatest Adventure.
Yeah, it's just 30 different versions of that, other than the Goblin song, which doesn't come back. And it's so much better than The Greatest Adventure. So bad. Another Rankin and Bass piece. Beautiful piece of connectivity in there. Also, if nobody has seen the classic Rankin and Bass The Hobbit, I'm not going to say it's amazing, but like, watch that shit.
I
shit is pretty
enjoyed
primo.
it as a kid.
Yeah.
And like it's one of those things it's stuck with me, and like I would put money down that it's better than the recent renditions of The Hobbit.
Infinitely. They preserve the fact that like Bilbo is a cowardly piece of shit. Like, which I love. He's like a traditional D&D thief who's like, nope, I'm invisible. Bye. I'm not going to fight in the battle, guys. I'm going to hang out over here in this tree and watch all of you fuck up. Because I can. Bilbo, where have you been? We thought you were dead. Yeah, crazy battle. I must have gotten knocked out, man. You know? It's crazy out there. Goblins and shit. So bad. But, you know, I could definitely see us doing, you know, a few more songs than just simply the one. There's a few movies that did that, though. I have to say, another callback to the party scene. Did you notice the like 4 different versions of Moon River that played in the background of the party scene? There's at least 2 different ones.
For sure.
Then at a different point, they're like, we put on a new song. Now it's an upbeat version of Moon River with a full band.
I noticed they used it several different times in several different ways. You know, varying tempos. There was one point when fucking George Peppard was whistling it. There was another one Holly was blatantly playing it on guitar and singing out her window. I was just like, okay, guys.
I got it.
Cool.
See, the song, it like represents her.
And it's the bond that they share between the two of them.
Yeah, bro. Which again comes back to the fact that 2 drifters. We have the same goals, but we're 2 drifters. We're not a couple. Hey, it's the cat and me thing. That's not what the end of the movie is. God damn it. People, just make the fucking movie consistent. I wanna like it. I wanna believe.
Yeah,
like when I first encountered this movie, it was next to another old school classic movie called The 3 Lives of Thomasina, which was about a sentient cat trying to help her family get happier. It's a very uplifting film, despite the fact that Thomasina dies twice during it, because it's The 3 Lives of Thomasina. But, you know, I saw that when I was like 9, and I was like, cool, Breakfast at Tiffany's, the boxes look the same. It's like the same company released them. They're next to each other on the shelf, and my parents organized things by genre. It's gotta be like some light, happy, you know, yeah, everything turns out great, and Patrick McGowan's happy, and the children. No, God, no.
So did you see this for the first time as like a child?
No.
Okay.
I saw this for the first time when I was like, because when I was a kid, I was like, let's watch Breakfast at Tiffany's. And my parents were like, maybe not yet. It's a really fun movie, and I'm super happy, and we got to watch it as a family. We never watched it as a family. I watched this
none of those things are true.
None of it is true. Last time I went home for Christmas, I ended up late, or the time at like most, close to when I watched it, which was like a year ago. When I went home for Christmas, I like made the point. I was like, y'all lied to me about Breakfast at Tiffany's. I'm like, what? I was like, it's a pile of horrible things and miserably bad people with nothing good coming out of it. And I had to like have that conversation with them, which has happened a few times where they've like had something that they held up as awesome, and I was like, it's shit. It's shit. Stranger in a Strange Land. I had to have that conversation with my mom.
At least something good came of that, though. Iron Maiden.
Orgies. Oh, yeah. No, okay, yes, Iron Maiden, yes. No, I will agree there. No, that's Out of the Silent Planet, isn't it? Did they also do something from Stranger in a Strange Land? I mean, it would make sense. It's motherfucking Iron Maiden.
There's the line Stranger in a Strange Land, Land of Ice and Snow. I don't remember what song that's from, but it's in my mind. There's weird things that like you'll hear something and you'll pick up on it and you'll be like, that reminds me of this. I don't even know if they're connected, but
I feel like they must be.
The synapses have made that connection, whether it's true or not.
These were filed under the same heading at some point, which I think is probably kind of what happened with Three Lives of Thomasina and fucking, Breakfast at Tiffany's. But yeah, no. I mean, I don't think the second line applies directly to Stranger in a Strange Land because it's pretty much all verdant green. Because none of it takes place on Mars.
But my mind has made that association, so let it be so.
And it is spoken. It's true. Some good things came out of Stranger in a Strange Land. I feel like the last third of the book is just such a betrayal of everything else that the rest of the book is about. Hey, live your own way and respect the way everyone else wants to live their life because everyone's different. And you have to understand who everybody is so that everybody can live their own life that's good for them. Oh, and by the way, if you don't all join our Martian sex cult, we're killing all of you with our magic powers that we got from the Martian sex cult. Hooray! Respect each other, unless you don't want to live in the orgy cult.
One thing I will say, when I was watching Breakfast at Tiffany's, with all of the underlying themes and the horribleness towards people and the ownership of one another,
would have been better with an orgy cult.
No. I was thinking, a movie like this could never be done today. But then I was like, 50 Shades of Grey came out within the past couple of years. And not to say that they're the same thing, but there's certainly some fucking similarities.
Mm-hmm. Questionable male-female roles and power relationships.
Yes, definitely the ownership, the feeling of being kept.
Yeah,
is very real.
And, in terms of literally pulled forward there. I also have to say that I feel like, if we're taking modern films, there's definitely, some of that pile of awfulness, I think, is similar, especially with the child molestation themes, to Mystic River, which is beautiful because then again, you can tie it back together with Moon River. And, that would be an interesting film mashup of, somehow combining Mystic River, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Would be an interesting. It's not a very coherent comment, but I just had that trigger in my mind where I was like, "My God!"
Again, fucking random ass associations.
Yeah, no, it's true. Oh Lord!
But if there was to be a modernized version of Breakfast at Tiffany's, who do you think would play the characters?
Oh my God!
I figured Paul Varjak would probably be Clooney.
Clooney's a bit old.
He is.
Clooney would play Jose. And
okay,
that would be
I could see it.
It holds on to the horrible racist shit of having the white actors play the Latino roles. Though I mean, you could just get 1,000-year-old Ricardo Montalban to he's still alive, right?
I
finally kick it.
I don't know.
I know he was the granddad in Spy Kids. I don't know. Sorry, I digress. But
the other thing too is you could, I don't know how old he is these days, but you could also have Antonio Banderas as Jose.
Oh, that would actually be that's pitch perfect. That's exploding nodules of flavor in the mouth.
And I think we would probably have an Asian be Yunioshi, but I'm not sure.
I would prefer that.
I can't offhand think of any Japanese comic. I mean, I would probably be like, all right, is it Bobby Lee, is it Kim Jong? But neither of them are Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a really hard question. You just totally change ethnicity and switch it to. I'm trying to think. Basically, I'm just trying to work around to Lucy Liu playing Mr. Yunioshi. Because I think that would be an interesting shift in the dynamic,
We could also just swap the sex of all the characters.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. That would be. Oh man.
I think that would actually be pretty good for a modern take too. Having the dude be the bumbling, fucked up version.
Yeah, but oh man, that would be great. Though you really couldn't have any of the jokey, lightness about child sex crimes.
Well, I mean,
hopefully they wouldn't be in the new version anyway.
Yeah,
it's but I mean, you actually get like lower quantities of like viewers complaining when it's like female molestation on screen than with male molestation.
That's really
a lot
weird,
of the time.
And that doesn't seem true to me.
Really?
But like, we also live in a weird age currently where there's so much like, if it offends a feminist somewhere, there will be a massive rant about it somewhere. So
well, it offends anybody. Like, that's the thing.
Enough.
Like,
we definitely live in an age of entitlement where, like, I am offended. I'm going to let everybody know. Dear ass faces.
And you are allowed to say that. And that's, I think, something beautiful about our era is that, if that's the way you feel, you can totally say that. You might still be wrong, and the vast majority of people might still disagree with you, but, yeah, you can put that out there, and that's awesome. And again, like, those are the people who are finding things problematic that aren't actually problematic. And that's what's frustrating is that, as with any progressive social movement, there are fringe people who are hanging on either for the attention or because they're crazy radical. Instead of, like, normal radical, which I consider a good thing.
Well, my whole point to that was, like, the talk about rape and rape numbers and it being more skewed towards females being raped, which is true.
Yes.
Or at least that come forward about it.
Well, I think it's about 70-30.
Well, some of the figures I've heard was more like 90-10. But that's probably coming forward rather than actually being the case, because I think there's a lot of whole, like, stigma of, like, oh, a man couldn't possibly be raped. Like, how could you let that blah, 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 blah.
Well, and yeah, all of those things about, again, the male and the female gender roles of that, like, it is so locked down in society. It is, like, instilled.
So, I mean, there would be weirdness about the whole molestation thing, but I don't know if it would be as problematic as with it being the male molested and the mother.
No. And that's a good point. Like, that comment initially when I made it, like, I didn't actually have support for it, which is unusual. And thinking about it, I don't actually know any number support for it, which is something that I usually try to have before I make a comment. And I apologize. It's been a rough morning.
You just watched Breakfast at Tiffany's. I don't blame you. You're not in your right mind. You could kill somebody right now and have it be declared temporary insanity.
I mean, like that. I mean, yeah. Woke up from a horrible nightmare where all my choices were taken away. Then I watched Breakfast at Tiffany's. A horrible nightmare.
I saw a character have all her choices taken away.
It's just like, this isn't a great morning. This is a bad place. Oh my god. But yeah, it would have been interesting. If we were gonna do a new gender swapped version. You do Chris Pine.
Not familiar.
It's Holly Golightly is the new Kirk.
Okay.
He was the more prominent prince in the film version.
All I needed was Newkirk, but okay.
Yeah. Chris Pine as Henry Golightly?
I was thinking Hill Golightly, but whatever.
Oh, just so it's like maintains that horrible, almost like Bond girl like style of like strange name. Oh god. Yeah, no. That'd be interesting. And in terms of Paul Varjak, who could do Paulina Varjak? Ronda Rousey. That's really, really.
You're gonna need to justify that quite a bit.
Specifically to make that line, I own you, I love you, so I own you, like, truly terrifying. I think she'd be a great choice.
I agree, but
like, the rest of it, no. Yeah,
I mean, she's not going to be laid back enough to be kept by somebody else, A, and B, there's no way she's not
that's true.
beating the shit out of Doc.
That is... Then we can have the roundhouse kicks! We could finally have the roundhouse kicks to talk! Oh, man. We should just, like, pull that actor's, like, dead body out of his grave and, like, puppet it, like, across it just so we could have him be the one taking the roundhouses. No, but you make a good point.
Just blatantly, like, the stunt actor is just the corpse.
Yeah, no.
Have another person be Doc completely, but just the random stuff with no explanation.
It's great.
And then there'll be like one line in the credits.
Yeah. Thank you to the guy who puppeted this poor guy's corpse. We needed it emotionally. Oh God. But no, that's actually a really hard question. A female Paul Varjak.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for it. And I was thinking maybe Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Be interesting. I was thinking... This might also be super off base. Like I said, nothing coming out of me is good today. I've only put bad things in, so I mean...
It makes sense. You get out, what's your part of it?
You are what you eat. I just ate a whole big sack of crap. Maybe Tina Fey?
Huh. That makes sense to an extent.
Yeah. I could see
I don't know if she'd be down for the role.
Yeah, no.
What I would... Oh, well, it's not. I forgot we were doing the complete gender swap thing. I was thinking...
We'll do partial. Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's throw all the windows out of the window.
Meryl Streep.
Throw all the windows out of the window. Throw all the rules out.
As Paul Varjak's keeper. Or Paulina Varjak's keeper.
Oh, that's great.
Just keep that and have like the weird like lesbian thing with Tina Fey and Meryl Streep.
Well, that would almost be like... Oh, man. Because then that almost makes me want to make it all female. Because that would be interesting. Because then you could have the lesbian thing between Yunioshi... played by Lucy Liu,
which
and
wanted from the beginning.
Yeah, it's been my ship. No, that would be interesting.
So basically, we're doing like a whiz almost with this.
I think that's an interesting way to put it. I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but no. You make a good point. Is even if you just changed that one so that it was I think like. Yeah, no, that'd be really interesting. You just have that relationship be the same-sex one, and then there's still, like, the awkward kind of, like, between Holly and...
Paulina in the new one?
Yeah.
Or Paula, or whatever the fuck.
Paula. Yeah, Paula's actually better than Paulina, probably.
I think you may have said Paula originally.
I said Paulina originally, because I'm... wacky and didn't think of the, easy...
The most obvious solution cannot be the correct one.
Fuck Occam's razor. Today, we dine in Shreveport.
No, we dine in Tiffany's. I mean, come on.
I hate it. I hate absolutely that whole film.
Anyways,
I don't hate the whole film.
The bottom line that I think... is incredibly beautiful and incredibly terrifying is somebody out there, this is their favorite film.
Oh yeah, gotta be at least one person who fucking...
Probably multiple people, probably thousands of people. I'm not going to attempt to wager a guess, but that's something that's incredibly beautiful and incredibly terrifying with this kind of thing, because it is so awful for so many reasons, yet at the same time, like, as any sort of creator, the fact that, like, whatever you do, there is an audience for you, it's just a matter of finding that audience is incredible.
It's true. I mean, George Zimmerman is now painting paintings, and they're selling gangbusters. You know what the paintings are?
No, but there was, like, some weird, like, Confederate flag.
They're just the Confederate flag.
Okay, so that was him painting them.
Yeah. He's painting the Confederate flag over and over again for this one gun shop to sell, to support their case that they won't sell guns to Muslims. That is, he's painting it for them as a charity to support their court case, because they publicly were like, we won't sell guns to Muslims. They could be the enemy among us. And
I hate everything.
Yeah, you know? Doesn't you just hate the world? You hate everything.
I do. I can at least take solace in the fact that George Papard's name will forever remind me of Jean-Luc Picard.
See, I always go Grey Poupon with it. Like, he reminds me of Mustard. Like, maybe it's the Hannibal thing, again, Colonel Mustard, but like, you know, George Mustard. I don't have any logic here, but I mean, prepared mustard. It says it on the packaging. And
prepared to prepare. I can see it.
Papard also sounds kind of like Poupon. There's two P's in
Grey
it.
Poupon.
No, please, no. Oh, still one of my favorite robot chickens. Just, ooh. So beautifully done. So vile.
Well, I think we're kind of rambling at this point, and we need to put this hate train to bed.
We need to put the old horse down.
But seriously, if for some reason you're listening this long and you actually like the flick, I would like to know. Please tweet at me at happyhypocrite with the hashtag BATredeemed. I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on Breakfast at Tiffany's.
I honestly, yeah, if any of you out there have actually listened through this entire thing, are rambling like horrible hate for this film, and you want to debate us, I am super down to sit down and like discuss this film when I'm not like whacked out and half drunk and exhausted and filled with loathing.
I can just picture somebody just sitting at like their computer shaking their head the whole time. They're wrong. They're just dead wrong.
They don't understand the subtlety.
It is the most beautiful love story.
Two drifters. Good night, everybody. Next time on TBD, which of course stands for Two Big Dudes, we'll be discussing probably another film, which hopefully is something we like this time, because what the hell? What the hell?
Good night and good luck.
Oh, hell no! I ain't getting out of bed today.